I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's going on, Tribe Mates? We are all back for another episode of Survivor. We are very excited to be here. We are staying safe at home. We're joining you by the application Zoom. Thank you to our wonderful engineers for AfterBuzz, letting us do this show for you guys from our houses. A lot of us have Facebook, virtual backgrounds going on. Veronica's got a very interesting one. I've got an amazing account. I'm going to introduce them to you guys now. I am Timothy Mike. I've got Veronica Valencia. You really like peanut butter, Veronica.
Peanut butter is single-handedly beating everyone at this game. I mean, 3 eliminations. Come on.
It's very true. Very true. I've got Mike Feeling with his background. Hey, Mike.
Yo, excited. I people DM me asking me my thoughts on this episode, and I'm kind of just like, I don't know what's going on anymore. I will get into it.
Don't DM us because we have to wait for the show to tell you. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, you can DM us. We love it when you reach out to us. And we've got our challenge guy, Steve Gady. Steve, I remember your last name today.
Hey, way to go.
Yay. Hooray, the moderator. Yay, I'm doing something right today. We're very excited to dive into this episode, you guys. First of all, I want to know everybody's overall thoughts of the episode.
Oh my gosh. I could not believe tonight's episode. I could not believe that Tony, once again, got away with such expert gameplay. It was so chaotic. I didn't know which way it was going to go. I thought for sure tonight would have been Jeremy's night to go home, but somehow Tony works magic. I was sitting at the edge of my seat. It was amazing.
Mike, what'd you think?
I think that for the last couple episodes, and especially illustrated with last night, they don't even know what they're actually doing until Jeff literally says, fine, let's vote. Because are we going to have a scramble every single week? It's not solid planning. It shows just how shaky and how crazy this season actually is. I'm super impressed with Tony. They're going to have a majorly difficult time getting him out because we know he still has a hidden idol. He's just winning everything like ridiculous. If they don't get him out, he's just going to win. They should just give it to him. Don't even vote in the final episode. Just give it to Tony.
Steve, what do you think?
I mean, he's on such a hot streak that his target is so huge that it's almost like there's all these huge targets, him and Jeremy and all these other people that Nick has said, I know if I go to the end with these people, I'm not going to be able to win this. So, it's almost like there's an obviousness to this game where the people sort of know where they are and what the trajectory of this game is. But Tony is he's on this hot streak. He's got his foot so far on the gas pedal that it's like, you might have to go after like one of his I don't know why they didn't go after Sarah or why people are sort of going along with his plans. I mean, he's really working Ben. That was a really interesting dynamic. I think the Tony Ben dynamic was the most interesting part of this episode. And we'll get into that, but it was just so much fun to see Tony he's playing this power game, but he's not playing it like he's playing a power game. He's groveling people. He's like, can I please just come and talk to you? I'll give you a fire token if you just hear me out. It's so weird to see him be this kingpin, but he's coming in like this dog who's been beat down.
Yeah, anybody who watches our show knows that I'm not a huge fan of Tony, but I can't help but be impressed by his gameplay over the last 2 episodes, especially when this season started with him laying so low under the radar that we were like, Tony's really changed. He's nothing like he used to be. And now he is how he used to be, except for like 10 times better because he's learned things from the last couple of times that he played. So I'm excited to talk about Tony in this episode. I'm actually excited to talk about a lot of players because a lot of stuff happened. Guys, don't forget at the end of the episode, we have our special segments. We've got our MVP segment, which we're going to tell you who we think is the MVP of the episode. So everybody in the chat, I think Mike is on the chat. We're going to do some shout outs as well. Let us know who your MVP is at the end. Plus, we've got an update to our fantasy draft. Mike, sorry, you've lost somebody. Coming down with the rest of us, buddy.
Yeah.
I know, Veronica.
It's okay. I'm still doing fine.
So let's get into the episode. So Karoo, night 28. Now, this was a back at camp right after Tribal that I was actually really excited about, and they didn't disappoint. Obviously, Ben is very upset that Jeremy didn't go home, but also Sarah is also mad. And I was a little annoyed with her and how she handled this entire situation. We say it time and time again, don't show your cards. If you're frustrated, just kind of like, I'm frustrated, but move on. Keep it low. Don't blow your gasket that early. And she let Tony have it. Not only did she let Tony have it, but she let him have it pretty much in earshot of other survivors and other players of the game. What did you guys think of what happened right after they got back from camp?
I thought it was interesting because it's, you have when someone is blindsided, they're going to have hurt feelings, they're going to feel betrayed. I totally understand Sarah felt betrayed by Tony because she thought that they were working together. But once again, I thought her argument was kind of a little off because she was saying, how Tony ruined her game and how because of the move he made, no one wants to work with her, which that might be how she feels, but that's not how I saw it. I thought that she was the one, that got the short end of the stick. She was the one that was also blindsided. So if anything, it might make people want to work with her because it shows, hey, Tony's not actually working with you, kind of thing. So I just thought that her reasoning for blowing up on Tony didn't make as much sense to me as a viewer as maybe it did to her in that moment.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I just think it was a bad look for Sarah. I think this whole episode wasn't very good for Sarah. I think she was pretty paranoid. And, the way she went off on Tony, it was personal. Like, she was like, when I get voted out of this game, then we're just like done, not just working together in the, like, she was just very upset. And, emotions are high in any season, but especially in this season. And I just think, it's funny because I wondered last time, what's she going to do? Is she going to keep working with Tony? She has no choice. She's got nowhere else to go. Yeah. I think that Tony has been screwing over. He'll screw over anybody to benefit Tony. And you should know that when you form an alliance with him. And, it's like the whole thing with the scorpion and the frog, like the scorpion stings the frog. It's like, well, what did you expect?
Right. Yeah. I had a bunch of thoughts really quick. We talked, just like Tim said, of not doing stuff exactly like what she did. That being said, if there was anybody for her to act this way towards, it would be Tony, because they do have that personal connection. And I really do think they have like an actual friendship going on outside of the gameplay. So she can work on his emotions to some extent. I think she went way overboard. She got way too emotional. The whole like, don't talk to me anymore, that's nonsense. That's not, I guarantee you at the reunion, they're going to be hugging and kissing, like, whatever. That was silly and in the moment. But, I think she could have, the right thing to do, right? Oh, Mike's tips. Oh, yeah, I feel like we haven't done Mike's tips in a while. The right thing to do is to come back, and instead of, you screwed up my game, I'm done, how could you, is, man, like, why didn't you just tell me? I'm down. I would have been down for that. Like, I want to be working on the side. Like, is everything cool? And more of the sympathy route, I think, than straight anger, because I don't think it's really going to work. You're not really going to scare Tony. Tony, this whole season, especially this season, has played this very timid kind of game. Like when it was, did the bird poop on him or something? Remember, he was like, what is that? To kind of completely sideline the serious conversation he was having with Ben, right? And Ben said, I think he said, oh, really? Bro, you know what it is. Tony's not stupid. He knows what it is. He's making himself look way less threatening, right? By doing these kind of things. And he's been doing it. We haven't talked about it, but I've been seeing him do it almost every episode, of really downplaying his intelligence. He knows what's going on. So this direct threat of him, I don't think is the right way to make a payoff or to kind of have him pay for the blind side.
Well, speaking of Tony and Ben, I mean, early on in the game, Tony is once again strategizing and getting his ducks in a row. He tells Ben that he is an idol. Did you guys appreciate that he did that? That he's trying to like do a little bit of damage control and like form trust in showing his card a little bit? Or are you on the side of, never tell people when you have an idol?
I understand that maybe at this point, Tony is trying to gain trust because I don't know. He's been playing such a low-key game and he's finally coming to the surface. Maybe he peaked too soon. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. But I think he's definitely trying to get some trust, but Tony, with just the masterful game that he's playing right now, don't show your cards. I really didn't want him to tell Ben, especially because Ben is such a wild card in this game.
Yeah, I'm always of the side of don't say anything. Say something else. Use some other kind of leverage, especially if it was an advantage or something like that, but not an immunity idol, because I feel like that's way too much information. He got lucky, right? Because there was no backfire because he won immunity anyway. So, but I say don't say.
But Tony's like, he is sort of playing with his heart on his sleeve, and he makes impulsive decisions. I mean, information is currency in Survivor, and he's like, I've got this information, and now is the time that I need to spend it. And idols are like Ben's bread and butter. Like, he was the idol master in his season, so that I think has more pull with Ben. And I think to get to Ben, that Tony was just chipping away this entire episode. Every little interaction that they had was just like, Ben's got this sort of like head down. I've got to get rid of Jeremy. There's no discussion about it. And I think that Tony was just sort of like, I've got to break down that wall. I can't just smash it open. It's got to just be little by little, gain the stress. And I think he did that pretty well.
That's a good point that you bring up. No, go ahead, Mike.
I just say I don't get it at all. I really have been disappointed, and we talked about it. I'm disappointed in the way Ben has been acting this whole season. I'm not going to talk to Jeremy, and I don't know how else to describe it. It's really childish. It's really weird. There's no reason to shut somebody off like that. Jeremy's not. I don't think Jeremy's pulling these crazy mastermind. It's just like ruling that, to get that kind of retribution from him. He could be a great ally. They need to be worried about getting Tony out, not this weird little squabble between, or at least from Ben's side. It's really disappointing.
Mike, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I, for one, personally do not understand this feud that Ben has with certain players in the game. It's like, when Ben doesn't like you, you A, know about it, and B, there's no way to get on his good side no matter what you do.
Right. And for what?
And for what? And I'm actually surprised that I'm actually this invested in it, because it's something that I want them to address at the reunion. I mean, I can't fathom any reason other than like slight annoyances why he would feel that way against Adam and then now against Jeremy, unless he personally feels that they're a threat. But I mean, Jeremy and Adam are two completely different players, and he's treating them exactly the same. So I don't know where during camp or something happened where somebody gets on Ben's nerves and he's like, that's it, I can't do it. Or if he just has like a short fuse and he just writes people off. I have no idea.
Maybe he's hungry.
Also giving us though, in terms of maybe
he's hungry and he's just arguing with people because this is not benefiting his game whatsoever.
No. Well, here's the thing about that is that I agree with both of you, in that it is very frustrating to see Ben consistently close the door on players who I'm sure are open to working with him. Because again, we've talked about it. You never want to close the door on working with something. On working with someone. And at the same time, Ben is doing very poor jury management at this point, because to all the people he's refusing to work with, if they go out, they come back. Ben is in the final 3, say, for example, they're not voting for him because they're like, hey, you shut me out. You never wanted to vote. You never wanted to play with me. Right. So it's very poor jury management on his part too.
I kind of think it's fun to watch, though, in that there's someone who he's very straightforward. He's like, I've got an idea. I've got a goal that I want to achieve, and it's to get rid of Jeremy. And at some point you sort of understand it, because you're like, if it's like your boyfriend cheats on you, and then they're like coming back to you and they're trying to talk to you. And it's like, how many times are you going to keep listening to them? At some point you just wanted to shut them out and be like, no, this is what I'm trying to do. And I think that Ben, to just, get like, I want to get rid of Jeremy. It's like, well, okay, we get rid of Jeremy next time. We've got this good plan. For Ben to be like, I'm tired of this. I need to do this. Well, okay. I can understand where he's coming from.
I'll tell you, when you take your boyfriend back and you talk to them, when hanging out with them for another 10 days gets you $2 million. The goal is to win Survivor, not kick Jeremy off the island. Like, who cares, right? That's got nothing to do with the overall. if that's true, then that's extra disappointing because it means Ben's really lost sight of the real goal and what's really going on. Jeremy is inconsequential. Get him out, leave him in, make him your ally or whatever, win.
Yeah, that's a good point, Mike. So Tony, once again, is not delivering anything short of a good episode when he brings in a guest, his newest, thing for spies, if you will. He's got a spy bunker, a spy underground, and now he's got spy shack, and now he's got the spy nest. So no matter their arguments or the little squabbles in the beginning of the episode, we can't help but wonder if their relationship is a lot deeper than Tony or Sarah let it on to be in the episodes. Because if she's the only one that knows, then clearly they have something going on.
I think they're really tight.
No, go ahead.
I think they're really tight in the real world, having the cop connection and all that kind of stuff. It didn't work out when they played together before, but I think they're really tight in the real world, and it's playing out big time this season.
Yeah. Well, I think that they might be tighter in real life, but I think that, Tony got exactly what he wanted. The whole point for him voting out Sophie last week was so that he can have Sarah as his right-hand woman. And that's exactly what happened. They are twosome now. They are working together. So he got exactly what he wanted by making that brilliant move. And I think in her mind, she, they're still kind of viewing like top tier versus lower tier, however you want to say it. So I think Sarah feels that she's on a even playing field with Tony, and her best strategy is to play with him.
But I also think that Tony's playing so hard that I wonder if Sarah is saying, okay, I need to gain his trust or make him think that I'm still working with him. But I mean, with the magnitude of those moves, she might be thinking, maybe I better not go to the end with Tony because, like, I don't know if I would vote for him.
There's no way she wants to go to the end with Tony. No chance. He's too strong. If you're Sarah, I think the tactic is you vote out Tony number 4. If he's going to be super loyal to you and you're going to play on the cop thing and the at-home stuff and blah, 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 that's the time to take him out. Let Tony protect you the entire way and then slice him in 4th place because who's going to beat Tony in the final right now? At least right now, nobody. Maybe Natalie, if she gets off extinction and she's like, what's up, guys? Crushed it the entire season without having to talk to any of you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Guys, I am getting word from my engineer that we are having some issues right now. We apologize for that. If we do have to stop, we will come right back as soon as the problem is fixed. But for right now, we're going to keep on rolling. So I want to talk about Kim, because Kim is one of those other players that have been playing way under the radar in terms of, just basic. People are like, wait, I forgot she was even there, which could be a good thing. But at the end, at this point of the game, might not be. She doesn't want to send Jeremy home, and she wanted to target Tony from last episode, but proceeded to tell people in this episode, very early on, in my opinion, that she wanted to target Tony. I mean, she told Ben, Michelle, Denise, Nick, she was telling everybody that would listen that she wants to target Tony. Did we support this decision, or did you guys think that it was actually going to come to bite her in the butt?
She told so many people.
She did tell a lot of people, but the thing is that Kim was not wrong. She was not wrong in wanting to try and get out Tony. Like, she is such a smart player. She knew that Tony was the ringleader this entire time, but from last vote to even playing right now in this episode. So it was very smart of her to want to target him. I think the only thing that came back to bite her in the butt was, once again, Ben. I think maybe she should have sat on it a little bit more. And who do I really trust? Who is really with me on this vote right now?
Yeah, everyone's been working with so many other people. It seems like everybody has blindsided everybody at some point that it's really hard to say, because I guess like the deck is reshuffled every week. So it's like, Ben might be, against Jeremy, and then Kim's like, well, we need to get rid of Tony and we need to make sure that we've got the votes. Well, we need to have Ben. And now it's like, well, suddenly Ben is like willing to keep Jeremy around for another week. And you just don't really know where people's alliances lie. And that is something that Kim didn't really come into contact with in her season. There wasn't as much fluidity back then as there is now.
Yeah, I just think she definitely had the right idea, because everybody should be trying to get Tony out except maybe Sarah. But I don't, this isn't anything revolutionary to say, but I don't think she had a good enough grasp on who was truly loyal to her and not. And that's why plans get out and then things get completely wrecked. So unfortunately, she was kind of the mastermind of this initial, let's get Tony out, instead of kind of planting the seed with somebody and then kind of ancillarily being in charge of it. So she got the full brunt of the blame.
I also think she waited too long to sort of take control of things. That's what everyone praised her for in her first season, was just how well she managed people. And I think that she is a good manager of people. And when she was explaining her, her plan to get rid of Tony, it made sense. And it was beneficial for everyone else there. And yet it didn't happen because there was too many other factors at play.
Yeah, I definitely think she had a very, very good social game, but they've said it at Tribal before. I mean, it's not just about the big move that you're going to do. It's also about the timing. And I think that, she just started this whole thing way too late. 2 episodes too late, Cam. 2 episodes too late. I want to talk about Edge of Extinction Island. I keep calling it Edge of Extinction Island. It is an island,
Trademark.
so I am right.
Accurate.
Veronica always gets on me about calling it Edge of Extinction Island. Edge of Extinction.
Trademark it. Oh my
It
God,
is.
I'm here for it, Tim.
So backside of the island, there's a pile of coconuts. We saw our survivors, or the people who are left, have to pretty much get 20 coconuts. Pretty much just another endurance challenge, like the logs on the top of the island. Now they just have to go to the backside of the island. The first 6 people who finish get 2 fire tokens. They have to finish before sundown. We see that, it's Sophie and Natalie, who are the first 2 to finish, followed by Yule, Tyson, Poverty, and then Wendell. And the biggest thing from here is that Rob, I felt, was going to be out of the game. He took a really nasty tumble, hurt his elbow. I mean, they really played that up. He seems to be okay. What did you guys think of the whole 20 coconut backside of the island thing?
Yeah, I thought this challenge was, here's the thing. I thought it was brutal. I thought it was brutal to make all of them, I don't even know exactly how many people are on Edge right now, but to make all of them make so many trips to the back of the island for only 6 of them to walk away with something. I think it would have been nice if it was like, yeah, but still, I just thought it was brutal that only a few people got something. They're out there, they're starving. I don't know. I just thought it was a little brutal. I would have liked it if it was like, okay, first 6 people get 2, everyone else gets 1. But that's just me. And maybe it's because I like all these players, but I'm like, give them something. In terms of Boston Rob, I agree with you, Tim. I thought that maybe he had an injury. Like, I thought maybe he broke his arm or something. The way that he made it sound, the way that they were editing it, I thought that he was going to be out. But at the same time, well, not at the same time, but it was really remarkable to see him continuously go, even though he wasn't going to win anything. Even if you don't necessarily like Boston Rob as a Survivor contestant, there is a level of respect for him on this show. And I love seeing, and one of the reasons I enjoy Boston Rob so much is because I love his passion for Survivor to keep going no matter what, even if it's irrelevant.
I too thought Rob was going to be in more trouble than he was. I'm of a different mentality. I don't think, because I'm a huge Boston Rob fan, I don't think Boston Rob needs to prove anything. And I didn't like seeing him finish the challenge because I'd rather see him conserve his strength, honestly, and not potentially get hurt anymore, because he's ridiculous. We all know he's amazing. I didn't need to see him get more coconuts. I'm like, dude, just relax. I want you to get back in the game. I don't want you to get any more hurt. The only big thing I thought about this challenge is it was sloppy. Who's counting these coconuts? They're all dumping them in the same pile when they get back. How do we know how far we are or how many we have? I'm sure there were PAs or Steve, there's PAs or something counting it. But that annoyed me. Like, why don't we have our own little boxes or something so we can keep track? That's what I thought.
I was just waiting for like Adam to say to, Ethan or somebody and say, hey, I'll give you 10 of my coconuts if you give me one of those tokens.
Oh, poor Adam. Adam was struggling on this one. Adam was really, really struggling on this one. I thought that Ethan would be the one struggling because we saw the last endurance challenge. He was really worried about his health, and they didn't really address that this episode.
Or Yule.
Adam was really struggling. Or you. Yeah, that's a good point too. And Danny also. Can we talk about Danny really quick? Because thin. And I mean, we've seen it before. It's Survivor, they're not eating much. It is 39 days. But I just thought that she looked really, really frail. And she was another one that kind of took a spill. And I was like, oh no, she's going to have to be evacuated out. I thought this challenge was going to take out a lot more people because it was coconuts, it was exhaustion, it was water, it was rocks. There's a lot of things involved. I thought that Boston and Danny were going to be out.
Well, that added to the brutality of it was the rocks. The fact that people were slipping, people had to jump. I think that definitely added to the brutality of it.
Man, she looked ripped up to me. I was like, oof. This quarantine 15 that I'm putting on right here. I was like, damn, she looks fantastic. Obviously underweight. She's starving, but like I get it. But I was like, oh, she's looking jacked right now. Good for her. And she's crushing. She's doing great. I'm super proud.
Here's what I'm wondering about the fire tokens though. Like Natalie has like 8 tokens or something. Yeah. I mean, like how many advantages, like at some point the value of a token starts to go down when there's so many in circulation.
Or the final challenge to get up extinction, it's like 15 fire tokens. You get final 3. You just buy it. Natalie just wins.
Here's my thing. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I do want to bring it up because it was something that crossed my mind last night. Once Edge of Extinction Island is out of play, I wonder what's going to become of the fire tokens, because all of the advantages in which fire tokens are necessary are coming from the Edge. But once it's done, are people still going to be able to buy advantages? I know that contestants still in the game have like a menu that they can look at, but are they going to think, oh, I'm going to buy, rice, or am I going to try and save it to maybe buy something? Like, I just wonder what's going to happen to fire tokens once Edge of Extinction is done.
I think they're going to do something big and cool before, okay, it's like the final 6. Now is dump your tokens. You can, and like all advantages in the final immunity or something, some big thing to spend them on.
I mean, you guys aren't the only ones who are wondering what's going to happen with these fire tokens. You know what I would like to see come back? The Survivor auction. That would be nice with these Survivor tokens. That would be awesome if they brought that back. Steve, what are your thoughts? What do you think they're going to do with these fire tokens?
I don't know. I feel like the fire tokens have been this sort of thing that people are sort of like, this is going to help me get farther in the game. I don't know that they're thinking this is going to help me win the game. So I think that the value of the tokens is like sort of low at first because you don't really know what they're for. And then it gets higher because people start to realize how you can use them and what they can do. And towards the end of the game, it's going to drop off because at some point you're like, I don't need these tokens. I'm not worried about this. I'm worried about just surviving the vote. And you can only buy so many advantages in a challenge or, idols or whatever. So, I have no idea. Yeah.
There is no idol. There's no immunity idol on the menu for people not on extinction, right? So everybody who's still in the game, all their fire tokens so far are only good for buying advantages from extinction, trading to other people, which is weird because no one actually knows if they're good for anything, right? Or finally buying some advantage. So the value is going to completely die once Jeff says this is the final opportunity to use a fire token. And I feel like they're going to do that and do something big with that, because if they don't, I feel like it's going to be really disappointing for everybody. Like, why did we invest so much interest in these fire tokens and Steve always brings up the economy and trading and stuff, for them to just literally, it just dies in one episode and there's nothing.
Well, it could also be something like they do at the end of Tribal, where the end of Edge of Extinction, all of these players can bequeath however many fire tokens they have to whoever they want. I mean, they could possibly do something like that. Who knows what these fire tokens mean or what they're going to do in the future. Those are very good points. Jeff Probst does know, and the producers obviously they do know. And the survivors that have already played this game, they know. But us, for everybody else, we're going to have to be in limbo, you guys. So as we predicted last episode, because of Sophie's announcement, everybody knows that there is a hidden immunity idol back in circulation. So Everybody goes to look for this hidden immunity idol. Ben and Tony pair up, and Ben is the one to find it. Now, the only reason I bring this up is because of Ben's reaction and how he tried to hide it from Tony in the moment, and then kind of gets caught, and then kind of has to like backpedal. It was messy. Messy is one of the words that I will describe it as. What did you guys think?
Ben had the right idea in wanting to try and hide it, but obviously now he's kind of linked with Tony. Tony knows they know each other's secrets, so I don't know if this is going to be them trying to backstab it in the future, if this is going to be, well, now we have to work together.
What do you think, Steve?
Oh my God. I just thought that that scene was so funny. I was laughing out loud. Tony was like, come on, man. Why would you try to do that? And then at the end for like Ben, who's just like, I'm sorry. I could just feel his excitement and his heart racing so much that he literally had to sweep Tony off his feet and run down a hill.
Yeah, I felt his excitement. I felt his paranoia, and I thought it was cute the way Tony was like, it's okay. I'm messing with, because they're jacked up, right? This means everything, staying in the game and winning more money. And it's so important. That seemed like Tony kind of messing with him and then saying it's okay was a really natural reaction of like, chill, dude. Like, I get it, blah, blah, blah. Tony would have been trying to hide it too. The funny thing about this to me was Ben finding the idol is perfectly linked to Sophie telling everybody that an idol exists, because her reaction to saying, I got voted out with an idol in my pocket was a big mistake, but just a genuine thing that came out of her mouth. It was like the most honest gut reaction. Same thing for Ben, right? The right thing to do is to kind of glance. That's a good hiding spot. Oh, there, it's in the paper, and just nonchalant, like talk to Tony. Instead, he was like, and reached in and found it and was found out, right? Because that was a gut instinct to go in and like, yay, and get it. So we couldn't hide it. So I thought the juxtaposition was interesting.
I think it's funny that they sort of are like linked by these idols, like I don't necessarily know that they would have been working together, but they're like, look, I've got an idol, you've got an idol.
Yeah.
If we work together, we are a serious power couple in this game.
Odd couples work, they can work, man, no doubt.
Very true. I want to talk about the immunity challenge, you guys. So we've seen this challenge before. They have to stand on a narrow perch, hand above them, tethered to a bucket. When the bucket drops, they are out. Now, Jeff obviously announces that there's a twist. There will be one male and one female winner. I actually like when he does that. And there will be 2 fire tokens for each of the winners. First off, nothing really special comes out of this except for there is a temptation that drops Kim, Michelle, and Nick. They go after the temptation, leaving Denise and Tony to win. Tony has won 3 times in a row now. Was anybody else frustrated with the people that dropped for this temptation? Cookies, peanut butter. Was anybody else frustrated?
Was anybody not frustrated?
Yeah,
yes, that's a better question.
He needs to rant.
I mean, everybody knows. People were DMing me. Everybody knows. I hate it when people quit. I hate it when people stop challenges just to get a little bit of peanut butter, especially with so much on the line. Like, the peanut butter you're never gonna eat peanut butter again if you lost $2 million because you stepped off just to have a little bit of food, right? So I hate it with everything. I hate it for everybody who wants to get on Survivor and never gets cast. I hate it for the people on Extinction Island who are dying to get back on. And I don't know. Any day of the week, someone want to cast me, or casting directors that watching us, or you want to put me on Survivor, I guarantee I'll never step down for that. Even if Jeff brings out and I fall, I would still rather go out swinging.
Steve, I want to shoot it over to you because you're a challenge guy really quick. First off, did you think that the people who, stepped down should have stepped down? And is this challenge as hard as Jeff Probst says that it is?
Okay, I have done a version of this challenge. And yes, it's very hard. The people don't realize that bucket of water is perfectly counterbalanced, that just the slightest pull on that chain will make it move. Like when Jeremy stepped off or he dumped his bucket, I don't think he realized.
Yeah.
I think his arm was just slowly drifting, and that's just enough to make that thing fall. That being said, I'm not really sure why they were even tempting people, because it looked so difficult. It only lasted for what was it, like 15 minutes or
15
something?
minutes.
Usually when they start tempting people, it's like, okay, you've been up there for 30 minutes, you've been up there for an hour. Now comes something to tempt you to step off. So I just didn't like the way that the challenge played out. Like there was a few people who fell off after like 5 minutes. So it's like, oh, okay, this is a really hard challenge. I don't think they needed to tempt anyone to step off because people were going to fall. They were falling. And another thing is, you're not allowed to keep eating the food after the challenge is over. So if you step off and someone else wins, everyone stop eating. That's the rule. But they bent the rules this time.
I think the temptation kind of made this one a little anticlimactic, just because, when they usually start tempting people, to your point, Steve, it's 30 minutes and it's an hour, and they're trying to get to speed up the challenge. At this point, there were already so kind of few people in it already that with just a few seconds, 3 people are already out, and that's all they needed to deem the 2 winners. So it was over in a second, and it was very anticlimactic. It wasn't like a big showdown like we sometimes see.
Yeah.
But it was good to see Denise win once again, because she has been playing under the radar since her Sandra vote. And Tony, once again, like I said, is winning 3 times in a row. Now, back at camp, obviously strategizing is going to happen. They are winners at war, that's obvious. What I didn't expect were for plans to be blown up so much. I mean, we kind of knew that the whole Kim wanting to target Tony was going to get out. I mean, she said it way too early. We knew that Tony was going to do that. We knew that. What I didn't expect was that Ben to tell you guys, and we knew what
I don't know what Tim didn't expect.
I mean, Nick
wait, Tim,
Kim,
go back, because you cut out. Go back. That's fine.
Yeah.
Still not, Timmy.
Oh, thank you.
And Tim's gone. So
Okay.
So it was. Go ahead. What do you think he was trying to say?
I don't know. I think he was just trying to say is that a lot of plans were changing. Kim mentioned the Tony vote too soon. Let's talk about how, this whole thing, I guess, kind of went down real quick. Just thoughts.
Well, my initial thought, especially with Tony being targeted, is his accosting Nick, and Nick just getting ridiculously caught in a lie. For a lawyer, wrong way to handle the lie, right? I mean, Steve, this is not how you do this.
Oh my God. That was a full-on police interrogation.
Right?
And Nick's lie detector test was just going like this. That was the worst lie I've ever seen. Literally like looking around. I don't remember if your name came